This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, welcome into the program as always. Appreciate you joining us. Coach Pittman, we played the clip at our top of our open. They got a win on Saturday. I mean, usually you don't hear coaches as straightforward as he was given this situation. What did you think about his comments at the tail end of the press conference speaking to how important this game is?
Yeah, good morning, guys, and that is true, and I chose to use that as my lead quote, basically saying, you know, we have to win this game, and I think he meant it more like along the lines of, you know, as a program, you know, after what we've been through and all that, and he knows there's a lot of pressure and there's some discontent among the fans and all that, but I think he just hurt so much for the kids that despite all the, you know, the negativity, despite the criticism about the run game and, you know, the things they haven't been able to do offensively, that they've given Alabama a big-time run for their money. I mean, obviously Alabama appeared to start coasting or whatever, you know, taking the foot off the gas, and they pulled close. But you don't do that unless you're, you know, you believe in the game plan and your teammates and you're playing hard. I mean, it just doesn't happen. And so you hurt for the Razorbacks if you're Sam Pittman, that you lost by 3 to LSU and by 7 to Ole Miss and by 3 to Bama. I challenge any team in the country to play that 4-game stretch Arkansas just did. And, I mean, I know there's teams that have bigger, you know, talent pools and what have you that probably would have won a game or so along the way. But I don't know. I feel where he's coming from, that he wants the fans to come out. He wants the populace to believe in this team and how hard it's trying, and to show up and try to help them beat Mississippi State.
So you mentioned the fans. We've taken plenty of calls and texts throughout the last couple weeks about, again, lethargic, maybe apathy to a certain extent. Coach Pittman talked about how many seats they've sold for Saturday. What kind of crowd, what kind of atmosphere do you expect for homecoming at 11 a.m., Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to have to take him at his word that they're just a little short of a sellout at this point. It's a good point. I need to talk to some folks in the administration today and see, you know, how close that really is. But I expect it to be close to capacity, and I haven't checked the weather yet either. Maybe y'all could brief me on that.
64 at kickoff.
64?
Mm-hmm. Nice
weather. It sounds like a beautiful day, and it'll warm from there. And I don't know, man. If you're a fan of the team and as discontented as you might be that they're on this losing streak, and again, I contend there were extenuating factors in the BYU game. They just didn't match BYU's intensity and so on. But you'll show up and try to get them. I mean, Arkansas has been dealt a rough hand. Mississippi State's coming off of a bye week, and yes, Will Rogers and Jo'quavious March were hurt, and I don't know what their availability is going to be, but they're going to be about as healthy as you can be, and obviously got a few extra days to plot and put in stuff for this game plan. So they're going to be at close to peak capacity, whereas Arkansas's got several guys dinged up, and they're playing their 8th game in a row and will not be at peak capacity. So we'll see how it matches up.
Yeah. Tom Murphy and all of our guests join us on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Coach was asked yesterday about Rocket Sanders, and I don't know was basically the core of his answer. Tom, this is starting to feel kind of like a Nick Smith Jr. type of situation with this knee. What's your read on what is going on with Rocket?
Yeah, my read is it's starting to sound like a Nick Smith situation. And look, here, Rocket was the franchise tailback last year, 1,400 yards, and it just feels like, you know, there's people talking to him about what's in his long-term best interest, short-term best interest, and all that kind of stuff. And at the bottom line of it, he hasn't looked very good. But how much of that is a knee? How much of that is the O-line? It's a frustrating thing for him. And he said all the right things. I mean, we actually talked to him last Tuesday night, and he's just basically saying, hey, it's in God's hands. And so I feel for the kid that you think you're going to have a big follow-up year to 1,400 yards, and he's stuck on 91, and his knee's hurting him. So I think, you know, we said from the very beginning about this position group that it's deep, and they have enough talent there And so I think we're going to see a good dose of Rashad Dominion and A.J. Green and Dominic Johnson if they need him. And then you still got Augustov as well. So they're plenty deep at the position. They just need to find a way to let the run game be helpful to them.
Yeah.
And when you think back to the last couple of years, there were so many runs per game that broke quickly past the first level. And then they're dealing with safeties coming up, and they're dealing with nickel backs, and linebackers, their pursuit angles have changed. And they had so many big explosive run plays. And this year, I mean, if they get a 4-yard gain on first down on a run, that's a big positive. And Sam even said that yesterday. And, they did have a few against Alabama. So they're still trying. The run game's still part of what they do. But the way Mississippi State shoots guys in the gaps and the way they come at you, it may be that the quick pass game is the most logical way to move the ball in this game.
It just feels like in today's college football world with the NIL money and with you mentioned other people in their ears, that there's more people to listen to. And when you got pro prospects, I just become skeptical. And then you factor in the offensive line and in the way they perform this year. It just makes me wonder really, what the future is and whether we see him again this year.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's I don't think you can draw any conclusion that, he'll be back in a couple of weeks when his knee's better, after the open date, or that he may not suit up again. I really don't know. He's a team captain, and I do know this, that the game means a lot to him, that his teammates have, because every time we've talked to him, he's talked about things from a team perspective. But I do believe also that, yes, NIL and all those things play into it. And so, this is just going to be one of those where we're just going to have to kind of sit back and wait and see how things progress.
Tom Murphy with us here on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. He's with Whole Hog Sports and the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Tom, you mentioned the quick passing game. Am I off base on the idea of starting Isaiah Satania over Isaac TeSlaa? And I know TeSlaa is a great possession receiver and got hands, but even a short bubble screen that Isaac caught was a 12-yard gain. I mean, I'm seeing TeSlaa take it 3 or 4 yards, still get the ball. We saw that great catch he had in that game. If you're looking for explosive plays, is that a move that this team should make, at least try it for Saturday?
Well, I mean, regardless of who starts the game, Satania is going to get his reps now. They've seen what he can do. I mean, that was a great catch in the end zone. I mean, KJ had to fire that. It was right over a linebacker's outstretched hand, and it wasn't an easy catch, and Satania made that. And, yes, those bubble screens, if you can get guys, screening guys off or blocking them in some manner, Satania's the kind of guy who could go all the way with it. And so, TeSlaa had a couple of positive plays on the similar plays last week, too. So here's the thing. They've shuffled guys around. I mean, TeSlaa was out. TeSlaa was in. Jaden Wilson was like the starting slot, and now he's more on the flanker type. So, look, Broden's drop they haven't had many blatant drops this year, but that one to start the game on third down, that was a big one, and his playing time dropped off as a result. When they get a chance now, they've got to deliver. I mean, right now, Andrew Armstrong is the kind of the lone guy, that you can count on. I mean, the way he stretched across on that 2-point conversion, that's just a beautiful individual effort. So I think they're casting about to find who can give us productivity, and I think Satania's in that boat, and I do believe TeSlaa is still in that boat. And you can tell their offense has morphed a little bit, and the fact that they've gone up tempo a little bit. They're trying everything they can. That's
the wide receiver position. Running back position, Coach also got asked about A.J. Green yesterday, who's your leading rusher right now. I think he had like 46 yards in this game. Why do you think they haven't featured him more? Coach mentioned that there's going to be more half and half on Saturday.
Right. That's a great question because A.J.'s got the highest, per run. And even if you take out the 55-yard touchdown against BYU, his per carry average is higher. So, but Dubinion, we know, is a very good back. And they're starting to get a little bit more yards before contact and getting a little bit more yards after contact. And they like him more as the between the tackles guy. But I think you got to give A.J. Green the full gamut. And I think splitting the reps up half and half between them is a good idea. It's unfortunate that Dubinion slipped on his cut on Arkansas's final set of downs because it looked like they were sealing off the right edge. There were some good blocks on that side of the ball, and he saw it, and he made the cut. He just fell. But if he gets by that cut, I know there's a receiver out there blocking a DB. Depending on how that block goes, or if Dubinion can get by that defender, it could have been a big play.
Yeah.
So, I think Dominic Johnson might still factor in, so I'll make a great catch in practice yesterday. But, the more AJ, I think the better for this Arkansas offense.
Yeah. Tom, talk about the mentality of a win versus a loss going into a bye week and how teams generally react when you're in a situation like this, when you've got kind of 2 weeks to stew on either a good situation in a positive or if the negative happens.
Yeah, a sixth loss in a row, and then you have to win every game, and you're coming back to play Florida on the road again. Not good. I mean, we see what it's like on the week to week with the, quote, negativity. And so a win, and then you still have a little wiggle room to get eligible. And Missouri looks like it's going to be a really tough matchup at the end of the year. And obviously Florida in the swamp. Arkansas's never won there, even though in 2009 they got robbed. It's a world apart between getting back on the winning column, having a winning locker room, going into your open date versus a sixth loss in a row. Because these players, their minds have got to be strong to deal with everything they have to deal with on the weekly, and so they need to be in a positive frame of mind going into that open day.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.